Gold has been going up while silver has been staying still. Despite the recent events that have been taking place with the China trade talks, the FOMC meeting today, and their decision to not cut rates, and the more recent India-Pakistan potential war breaking out, there's a lot to uncover here. And in this video, I want to break down the performance of gold and silver and what it has done so far this week. So let's get into it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to yet another video. So there's a few topics today that I want to go over and how it will impact us as stackers, because the uncertainty and volatility tend to push the metals higher, which is great for us in one way, but on the flip side of that requires us to pay a little bit more for those commodities. And while I wouldn't, and I don't think anyone else wants chaos and uncertainty, paying attention to recent events and price movements are an important part of our stacking strategy. So let's get into what's been happening this week. And before we do that, I want to also mention, again, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so, because we are going to be doing a live stream / giveaway sometime later this month to celebrate the channel's recent 500 subscriber achievement. So if you want to be a part of that, hit the subscribe button to be in the loop of when that will happen. But with that being said, let's get back to the video. Let's start with gold. Well, gold has hit another all-time high recently at just over $3,431 an ounce, which is just over the latest one it hit at $3,424 about 2 weeks ago. So there is a little bit of that resistance level right now, but gold was down on the day from yesterday by about 1.15%. But nonetheless, it's been the better performing asset so far. And with the decision to keep interest rates at where they currently have been since December, while that doesn't have a great impact on the price, typically what happens is when there's a rate cut, it's typically bullish for gold and silver, which will push the prices up. And then a higher rate will be bearish for gold and silver, which pushes the prices down. But we aren't expecting any cuts or hikes until possibly July, which we can show you here on this graph here on the CME Fed Watch. You can see that we're not expected to see any cuts until possibly July. And there was a statement here that was on the Fed notes from the meetings today. They did mention that there was uncertainty about the economic outlook has increased further. Then the way that I'm interpreting that is we're not making any decisions, but we do expect something to happen in the near future, which I guess could line up with the expected rate cuts in July. But again, we don't really know what's going to happen as far as any of this is concerned. So with the terms of the interest rates, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Not to mention the events from yesterday between India and Pakistan are the latest set of countries to add to the list that are possibly going to war with each other. What first started with Russia and Ukraine moved into Israel and Hamas, now leading us to this conflict. And this could put gold and silver in an even more bullish scenario. So I want to break down the price movement of gold and why it may surge higher than before. Back in 2022, when the Russia-Ukraine conflict started, the price of gold went up, but then came crashing down, primarily because of the hiking of interest rates, and they were creating a massive resistance in the upward price movement despite the conflict. Whereas in 2023, when Israel and Hamas began their war, we were experiencing rate cuts. And you combine the two together, you can see the massive jump in price of gold since then. Now, with the potential further rate cuts that might be coming around the corner, and if this new conflict becomes even worse, you could easily expect the price of gold to shoot up even higher than where it's at today. Because the underlying reason why the price of gold moves up is because the dollar is getting weaker. It's not that gold becomes more expensive, it's because the dollar is falling. So it's taking more dollars to buy gold. Now, silver hasn't done much. It's still stuck around the $32 to $33 range, and there were days it would go up, but then would be completely canceled out the following day with a loss. And that seems to be the theme for silver so far over the past few months. However, the expectations for this is that silver should have a breakout at some point in the near future, because of that saying, when gold leads, silver follows. Because the price of gold has risen so much lately and silver has held flat, you would expect the price of silver to shoot up very shortly. And with the GSR now at over 100 for the past month, it's indicating that silver is a very undervalued asset when compared to gold. And the last time it hit 100 in the GSR or higher was back in 2020. And that only held up for a few months before coming back down to the 60-to-1 ratio. And if that were to happen again with the current price of gold, silver would be over $50 an ounce. And that would be fantastic for all of us stackers out there who've been accumulating them for over the years. Now, I've said a lot about what's been going on recently, and I don't want to make any assumptions or predict anything because I don't believe in doing that. I'm just creating hypothetical scenarios and using historical data to create a possibility for something. I have no idea what the price of gold or silver will do in the coming weeks, months, or even years. I'm not an analyst and I don't make predictions or guesses. If I wanted to do that, I'd go to Vegas for the weekend. But there are factors that can impact the price, such as interest rates, international conflict, inflation, etc. So with gold hitting new highs and silver staying still, are you leaning towards gold or silver right now? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments and let me know if you're worried about any of the recent conflicts between India and Pakistan. Let me know what you think. Let's see what happens for the rest of the week. Remember to keep stacking, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye, guys.